Well, hello, you lovely creative people. Matthew here with Gear Sounds, and today we're going to learn how to create a custom patch on the Boss GX1. Let's get into it. You can see the big feature here are these wonderful lights and buttons that you can turn on and off really quickly and easily. I recommend starting with a patch that you like, and you can start from a blank patch if you want. You see, if you push the volume pedal all the way back here, starts as a volume pedal, it actually shows you the tuner. There's the pedal effects there. You can change it to wah. Right now I'm turning off the amp and cab. Now that we're here, if we hit edit, it brings up what Boss calls the hex array, where you see all these little hexagons. These represent the digital pedals. We can scroll through them using knob number 1 here. Now we have knobs 1, 2, and 3. You see I'm clicking knob number 1 to move individual blocks here, so I can set my amp before the delay and reverb, which is where I want it. If you take a look right here, see how it says select and move? That's telling you what's going to happen if you rotate the knob and click the knob. So if I click the knob, I put myself into move mode. The best way to think about this is knob number 1 corresponds to this menu number 1 for select, and clicking the knob moves everything. Knob number 2 corresponds to menu number 2, where I can change the type of, let's say, type of reverb. And if I click the knob, it turns the effect itself on and off, which I find kind of useless because I can do that with the light up buttons much faster and easier to do it that way. Then on knob number 3 corresponds to this menu number 3, which says Gear Suite and List. So if I click it, I'll get a list. If I scroll through it, I will get the different gear suites. Now what that is are basically presets for that effect. So let's say you're on the amp, for instance. The gear suite is not going to be the type of amp. It's actually going to be settings for that amp. So the type is actually on knob number 2. So that's where you're going to scroll to change the type of reverb or the type of amp. Then the gear suite is going to be your preset for that specific reverb or specific amp. It's very easy to do that. We're going to go through it right now. What's great is you can see when I press the amp button, notice how the amp actually turns off in the hex array there. If you want to edit the parameters of a particular effect, you can either hit enter on that effect, or you can hold the effect that you want to edit. So let's say I want to edit this amp. I just hold it for 2 seconds and it, boom, brings up that menu where I can edit all 9 of those parameters. You can also see when I'm pressing different effects here, notice how it switches to that particular effects page. So I can very quickly just go and edit everything. I can even adjust the gear suite here in that center knob section, you see. Now the amp, I left it at default settings. We'll change it in a second, but for now, let's alter this reverb. So do you see how these 3 knobs are altering the 3 options that are highlighted right now? If I use these up and down arrows, I can swap between these different rows. And now I can edit these 3 columns, time, tone, and level. And when I switch to delay, you can see I have the gear suite in column 1. Nothing is happening on the 3rd knob because there's nothing in parameter number 3. But the up and down switch will allow me to edit time, feedback, and level now. Now if I go up here or down here, like I'm in the high cut section. So for this slicer, for instance, you see I've turned it on now, and now we can swap between different effects with the left-hand knob. So if I go to this one, it's not currently on, but we can swap between effects with the left knob, we can change the level with the right knob, and the gear suite is going to give us those different presets that I was telling you about earlier. So these are presets for the same effect. The gear suite is a great way to get around a particular effect and start finding usable sounds right away. So I recommend start scrolling through the gear suite and just listen to those presets. Right here you can see I'm adjusting level, tone, and drive. And now that it's on, I can actually hear what's happening. Okay, now watch this. Do you see how the first button is blue because I have a vibrato selected? When I use that knob number 1 to select rotary, look how it changed to orange at the bottom left. Pretty cool. If I hit that edit button, we can go back into the hex array editor, as Boss likes to call it. Kind of a cool name, actually. And I like the look of these little blocks. Here we can see I can actually adjust the type with knob 2 right there. And I can adjust the gear suite with knob number 3 right there on the pedal board. So a great way to just experiment with sounds. So here's the wah pedal or the volume pedal. Holding on edit in the hex editor brings up memory level, BPM, output level, and other options. Remember, if I want to edit this pedal or any pedal, I can go to the hex editor and hit enter, or I can just tap and hold on that pedal's button, the lit up colored button. And you can see as I'm moving the wah pedal, the position is adjusting there because it's sensing that I'm actually moving it. And so again, we have these 9 parameters here, this actually 8 parameters in this case. Right now I'm adjusting the minimum and maximum that it can reach for the wall. And the gear suite is again going to alter all of those values and act as a preset. So really get into the gear suite, guys. Try cycling through the gear suite on each of your effects on a preset that you love, and I guarantee you're going to be very surprised at how different each of those gear suite presets is. And don't forget, you can make your own. We can save our own gear suite preset, and we'll do that coming up here. When we save a preset, it's going to give us the option to save any of the pedal parameters that we have in that particular preset that we've built as a gear suite. So let's say I've really customized a delay the way I like it. I can hit the right button, which is hitting the exit and enter button at the same time, and that's going to allow me to save it to a gear suite. Right here I can write just normal, and here's where I can set where I want to write it to. So the U are going to be the user patches, so that's where you want to set it. That way you can keep all your presets nice and pristine so that you can still experiment with them if you want to go back and get this one. So right now we are just altering the characters with each name. You can see we can adjust the cursor, we can delete by clicking this one, and then we can insert and then adjust characters with knob number 3. So as you see, I'm clicking this knob to delete everything. And then this is what's going to go through the characters and then also allow us to insert as well. And then up and down, you can see will get us through different types of characters like capitalization and special characters. Yeah, it's a very complicated system there. This would be probably one of the only downsides to this pedal is the lack of a touchscreen really makes it cumbersome to do something very simple like naming. So you'll probably want to do something like this on the computer. I'm not much of a guy that plugs in stuff in a computer, so I've gotten pretty good at this kind of stuff, but even this can be very annoying. So we'll just fast forward this. All right, so that's saving a patch. What if we want to assign control switches? Now, you can see right now which effects are on very easily, and also what types of effects there are because they group them by color. So right now, if I was to go to the menu, this is where we can do more advanced functionality like select our outputs, global EQ, and everything like that. For now, we're just going to assign control. You see I clicked that one there. And switch number 1 and 2 are the up and down switches you see there. And from here, I can actually change what those do. So I can, there's a lot of options I can do here. I can do almost anything. Control function for number 1, assign number 2, knob setting, clicking number 3. Knob setting just changes what these knobs do. Clicking number 1 gets us to the control function, which lets us change what the buttons do. And the 3 buttons on the bottom can change anything. Basically, if your brain can imagine it, you can assign these switches to do it. You can have them trigger a scene where multiple effects come on at once. You can have it trigger a gear suite, so you're only changing a preset of one type of effect. All types of advanced functionality is available there. Now remember, just like before, anytime you're in an editing menu, whatever's highlighted in gray is being controlled by knobs number 1, 2, and 3 in those particular columns. And if you want to switch rows, you got to use the up and down buttons to switch between each individual row. And that's really about it. There's more advanced things you can do, but I would imagine for most people, this is going to get you to the gig. And if you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. Drop a like, subscribe, do all the stuff.
Hey guys, it's Bob. I just want you to know, do not subscribe to this guy. Do not watch his videos. Definitely do not click on another video because he doesn't use a tube screamer. He leaves me underneath the bed, guys. I'm under a bed. Before this video, I was in a bed. And he just took me out to take pictures of me just to humiliate me. Don't subscribe.